Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Bengal Magazine. And on today's show, we're going to go outside and talk to women's soccer. Nick DeMarsh, the head coach of the 11-4 Bengals, is joining us. And Marissa Lombard, the sophomore defender from Orchard Park, although she did play at Hamburg. And then we've got an interesting feature on Eddie Weiser, a senior linebacker for our football team. But we're not talking football. We're going to go outside and talk MMA with Eddie. And then Dustin Dimit, the cross-country coach for the Bengals. And Dustin's bringing along Kyle Foster. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk women's soccer. Stay with us. All right, we're back in studio and joined now by Nick DeMarsh, the head coach of women's soccer at Buffalo State, along with Marissa Lombard, his terrific sophomore defender. And this has been quite a season. And I've looked back and done a little research, and wondering, from the moment you stepped in here back in August to today, is this a surprise? Is it something you expected? You had talked about experience back in August, or where does this fall in terms of how you grade this season?
Well, it is a surprise to me, considering who returned and the players that we brought in. We were concerned about our ability to score goals this year.
Okay.
And if you look at our scores,
yes,
a lot of 1-0 victories, so we found a way to get it done.
1-0, Nick.
1-0.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a bit of a surprise, but with regard to who returned and the spine of our team,
right,
and kind of the key players that decide the game, we were always going to be strong.
Yeah.
So I knew there would be a lot of close games, but I wasn't sure how many wins we would get.
Well, let me talk about that spine, and you did mention that on the show back in August. Is that defense all the way up? Is that what you mean by that? And midfield, and then as we move forward?
Yeah, our center backs are returners, and they were very good.
Okay.
And our goalkeeper is a senior,
Yep,
and she's doing very well. Our two central midfielders are both seniors, and they've been through all the battles, and they've been there and back. Our attacking center midfielder, she's a junior, and she's a very experienced player.
Okay.
We've got a senior
Yep,
center forward.
right.
So we've got a lot of experience right in the middle of the park. So for us, that strength and that experience has paid off. And
yet, Marissa, it has to all come together. I mean, you've been playing soccer all your life probably, and as a defender, you may have seen that too coming into the season. Are you at all, is this what you anticipated when you started in preseason and looked at the roster and knew that you were coming back as a starter even though you were a sophomore?
I think so. I always knew we were going to be strong in defense just because of the players we have. Like our center backs, they're really strong, and we all work together and work for each other back there.
Yeah, it's an interesting makeup. 11-4 as of this broadcast with one tie, too shy of the school record set back 30 years ago, Nick, 30 years ago. But more importantly, I think 6-1 in the conference. And tell me your feelings about that, 6-1 in the conference. That must be very gratifying to you as a coach to know you're on top of the conference standings right now.
Well, we're not going to get carried away. We're 6-1, with most of all those wins coming by one goal.
Yep.
So we have our feet firmly on the ground, and we know that the difference is in the margins. Each game is very, very close. We could have lost some of those games, but we didn't.
No.
So we're not going to get excited about it. We're going to stay calm and just go through each game like it's the last game.
And I could also say that good teams find a way to win those 1-0 games. So
100%.
To counteract that, there must be fabulous satisfaction as a defender. I mean, an old-time goalie like me, I used to love shutouts. Do you get the same kick out of being on the field and looking up and seeing 1-0, 2-0?
Yeah, we just work really hard in the back, and it's nice to see those results.
Do you go into a game thinking like that? Do you and your fellow defenders say, no goals, or even no shots? How do you approach a game?
Before every game, we go in with the goal of not letting them score.
Okay.
We don't want any goals. We don't want to minimize shots. We don't want to give them any chances.
Is this kind of like in boxing, the term rope-a-dope, you just kind of look for your spots and then go for it? Or is this a conscious strategy that you're employing this year?
Well, our system of play is a defensive system. It can be an attacking system, but the way we've employed it, it's basically set up to just deny a lot of good scoring opportunities. With the two center backs and the two holding center midfielders kind of creating a no man's land. Nobody gets in and out of that area and gets a free shot.
Okay.
So everything that we do give up seems to be something that's off a rebound or a long distance shot. But to kind of go back to the question, we've set goals in the preseason. We looked at all of our previous seasons since I've been here, looked at all the statistics, and we said, how many shots in conference do we want to concede? What means success? Our best seasons, we only conceded this many shots, this many goals, this many corner kicks. We looked at those and decided to set up a strategy where we would minimize corner kicks, minimize shots. Even if there were going to be shots, can it be a bad shot? Can we force them into a bad angle or pressure the shot so it's off target? And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it was, from the beginning of the season, it was all laid out in terms of what we wanted from statistics.
Yep.
And we've actually blown some of those statistics right out of the water.
Wow.
So.
Well, it makes sense. And I should tell the viewers, 9 shutouts this season, tied a school record, one more to break that. And when you say shots, you're saying shots, but not shots on goal.
Well, just deny opportunities for the other team to score. So if they're going to be, 10 yards in, they're going to have a good opportunity to hit the target and score.
Okay.
But if you force them to shoot from 25 or 30 yards, that's very low percentage. And if you can pressure the shot, it's even lower.
And and I'm making an assumption that with the experience that you have, you're able to rely on those ladies to carry out that strategy. Do you sense, probably no pressure, but do you sense that's the strategy he wants you to carry out? And
yeah, definitely. We work on it in practice all the time, just keeping them away from the goal.
Okay.
And if they're going to take a shot, give them a bad angle to take a shot at. Yeah.
I think a lot of viewers who might not have soccer, might be a little soccer novice, could relate to hockey. Shots from the boards on the outside are better defensively than those in the middle, and I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So now we go into the weekend, and we have a very big game Friday. Friday, Oneonta comes into town, and it is really for the conference championship, regular season, and you're nodding your head back and forth. Tell me what you're thinking right now.
Well, they have to beat us.
Okay.
The pressure is on them. If we tie, we win.
Right.
So they really have to bring everything that they have and break us down, which may open them up to a counterattack. And we do have a little bit of speed up front. So if they want to press their numbers into our end, then we're going to play a big ball and get behind and see if we can score.
Okay.
Our theme of the season really has been to be stubborn.
Right.
And we will be stubborn on Friday, and hopefully we can get a good result.
And it must be exciting to go into a game like that, knowing that there's so much on the line as we near the end of the season.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Yeah.
Well, we want to remind everybody out there that this weekend's a big weekend in terms of home athletic events. The volleyball team is here Friday and Saturday for SUNY pool play. All the teams come to the sports arena for a great competition. So if you're interested in volleyball, it's absolutely free. Come on out to the sports arena. And then Friday, men's soccer is in town. 3 o'clock match, important match versus Oneonta. That's Friday at 3 o'clock at Coyer Field. And then Saturday, the Bengals take on New Paltz at 1 o'clock. So men's soccer here Friday and Saturday at 3 and 1 respectively. And don't forget, November 6th, it's a Wednesday, November 6th, the women's soccer team opens SUNY Conference playoff action, the semifinals at 1 o'clock. I want to alert you that it's a 1 o'clock game, Wednesday, November 6th, the opponent to be determined. And we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Eddie Weiser, our linebacker for the football team, but we're not going to talk football. Stay with us. It's still football season, and we're going to talk football. I think we're going to talk football. Eddie Weiser, our linebacker for the Bengals, is joining us right now, the senior from Grand Island, but I have a funny feeling while he loves football, we're actually going to talk about something else he loves, and that's MMA, because Eddie Weiser is an MMA fighter, I guess you would say. Correct, Eddie?
Yes, sir.
It's interesting. I've read a little bit about you, the history of how you got into MMA, and I want you to maybe to explain to our viewers. You were a Golden Glove champion, boxing champion.
Yes.
In the state at age 16.
Correct.
Kept playing football, joined us for football, and then something happened. What happened?
Yeah, well, after my freshman year, I actually met a football player who played at Ithaca, and he's from the area, and he had an MMA fight, and I was kind of interested to see, where he did it at, and he said the gym was right over in Tonawanda, so, I started going over there and started training, and I had my first fight in March, a couple months after football season, and I fell in love with it.
Well, you fell in love with it so much that even though you were Rookie of the Year in our conference that previous year with, I think, 76 tackles, you decided to hang up your cleats and maybe just put fighting shoes on.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning, what was the thought process there?
I was just having real fun doing it at the time. Not that I wasn't having fun playing football, but at the time it was just what I was really having fun doing, and I just wanted to keep going with it.
I'm interested. Is it easier? Is it better? Does MMA help a football player in terms of your training, or does a football player help in MMA?
I think it goes both ways. I think having a football background going into fighting helped me out because I learned a little bit of the football toughness. If I'm tired, I still have to practice, and I take that from football and brought it to my MMA training. And then overall, just being in better shape and being in good shape, MMA helps out for football.
Wow, that's interesting. And what I'm curious about, because in doing the research, why didn't you just stick with boxing? You were obviously very good in boxing. You won the state championship at 16, and yet you go into something completely new.
Yeah, to be honest, I was just, I always wanted to get into MMA. I was having fun boxing, and boxing was kind of just being, I thought it was kind of a dying sport, and MMA was getting pretty big. So I just kind of wanted to give it a shot, and I had the boxing background, so I decided to just, try it out.
So, and I'm assuming boxing helps in MMA, although boxing isn't the only discipline or ingredient in MMA, but it certainly had to help you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Having any kind of experience. I mean, already being in a ring fighting, and then, fighting someone for the first time that didn't have any fights really helped me because I just had the experience of, being in a ring.
It's interesting because I think when you think of MMA, at least I do, okay, and I'm naive to the sport, but I would think, generally speaking, people hear MMA and they think it's barbaric. You're in a cage that's up to here. It's almost a chain link fence. Don't know if it is, and two guys are just knocking the what out of each other.
Yeah.
Is it like that, or what's it like in the ring? Is there strategy involved, or you just try to go at the guy?
Everyone has different strategies and everything like that, but it's very. A lot of us, we have college degrees, a lot of smart guys. We're not bar brawlers like they used to be.
There you go.
And there's definitely strategies. Everyone, certain fighters are ground fighters, so they want to get it to the ground. They'll study how to get you to the ground, and certain guys are stand-up fighters, so they'll try to keep the fight standing and work their takedown defense and, all that.
Okay. Now, MMA actually stands for Mixed Martial Arts.
Yes.
So there are disciplines involved. Even a naive guy like me would know, maybe Jiu-Jitsu or something like that. Can you talk about the disciplines that are involved?
Yeah, there's Muay Thai and boxing. Those are both stand-up techniques that are in MMA. And then there's wrestling, Jiu-Jitsu, and yeah, that's it right there. Yeah.
And what do you incorporate all those, Eddie, or what do you prefer?
Yeah, well, I just like to stand up, but I have to train everything. I usually train Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, boxing, and Muay Thai twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're still training right now?
Not training right now. No, I don't have time
for.
I would be very tired. No. No, I don't train during football season.
Okay.
That's just too much.
But let's say after football season, if I can get off tangent here for a minute, you give your body a week or 2 weeks and you're back in the gym or something?
Yeah, I'm actually going to take a couple of weeks off, and I'm actually looking into taking some professional boxing matches, actually.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell the viewers, because I did my research, and you didn't even know this, did you?
No, I didn't.
This type of fighting, MMA, while it wasn't called MMA, goes back to the ancient Olympics. It was called pancration back then. And in the late 1800s, throughout Europe, there were bouts, no-holds-barred bouts that has a roots to MMA. And that was happening in Europe back in the late 1800s. So just wanted to let
that's
you know.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Wikipedia cool. has everything down. And now we get into these strategies.
Yes.
And we talked off camera about these. We have the sprawl and brawl. We have the clinch fighting, the ground and pound, and the submission grappling. And you're saying, yep. You like the sprawl and brawl.
Yes.
What is that?
Sprawl and brawl is for someone that, you know, they don't really like fighting on the ground that much, which I don't. I don't like the wrestling and jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I try to sprawl, make sure I don't get taken down, and I like to use my hands, you know.
So when you say sprawl, you mean sprawl on the ground, like? Or?
Yeah, like if they were to shoot, like if they were trying to tackle me, I try
Okay.
to sprawl out so they can't, you know, take me down.
And is that a unique that you utilized and others utilize? Is that what you like to utilize?
That's what I like to utilize because I come from the boxing background, so you know,
Okay.
I like to use my hands against people.
And then what is clinch fighting?
Clinch fighting is actually from Muay Thai, and that's all fighting from a stand-up position, but they're clinched together. There's a lot of knees and elbows used in that.
So you and I would be clinched together,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you would be doing this?
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay, and then the ground and pound sounds like I know what that is, but
Yeah,
what is that?
a lot of wrestlers use that. You know, wrestlers have good takedowns, so they'll take someone down and then they just try to punch them in the face.
So we're using wrestling techniques that we would learn in high school, let's say.
Yep.
And maybe you did at Grand Island. I don't know if you wrestled. And then once they're down, now we can pound.
Then it's MMA. Yep. Then it turns into MMA, and that's when the fists come in and submissions come in too.
Submission meaning
Choking someone out, arm bars.
wow.
Yeah. And
where-
that's the submission grappling, which is in jiu-jitsu.
How far along does this go then before, I'm assuming there's a referee in the ring?
Yep.
I know I sound very naive. So when does the referee, does he have the authority to say, whoa, enough's enough, this Eddie is killing this guy right now?
Yeah, you know, if you're, the refs talk to you a lot when you're in the cage.
Okay.
If you're ground and pounding and the guy isn't responding, he's not moving around, he's not covering up, the ref will tell him, like, hey, you need to move or else I'm going to stop the fight. And if they don't do anything, then they'll stop the fight like that.
Wow.
And other than that, you tap out if you're in a submission. If you're getting choked out or you're in an arm bar.
You say,
Tap, yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
You tap out.
You tap out,
whatever
yeah.
way. Okay. And the bouts themselves, is it similar to boxing? Do we call them fights or bouts? And are there judges? Let's say there's no tap out. How does one win?
Oh, yeah, there's fights and bouts. They're both same in boxing and MMA.
Okay.
There's 3 judges, and in MMA they score it on like cage control.
Okay.
So if you're pressing the fighter a lot and the other guy's running away, you know,
Okay.
you're going to be getting points instead of if you were running away, you know, you're avoid fighting.
Interesting.
They judge the whole jiu-jitsu part of it. You know, being on top in MMA is big. You don't want to be on your back at all because you lose points when you're on your back.
Okay.
And then they just judge it, you know, the stand-up, whoever wins the exchanges and stuff
Fantastic.
like
We've got about a minute left. You're going to finish out this career at Buffalo State.
Yep.
You're starting linebacker for us. We're going to win our last few games.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to graduate. What happens to Eddie? Is it real life or is it more MMA? What's the future hold?
that. It is real life, but I'm going to try to take a few years and really try to pursue what I want to do. And that's going to be MMA or boxing right now. Yeah.
Well, Eddie, congratulations. It's a wild story, a wild
Thank you.
ride. Best of luck
Appreciate
the
it.
rest of the season.
I
And
appreciate it.
best
Thank
of
you.
luck in the ring. As they say. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back in the studio, we're going to talk cross country with Dustin Dimit. Stay with us. Congratulations going out to the Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week, and that's Casey Kaz from our football team. Casey, the quarterback, tied a school record with 5 touchdown passes, and then he also rushed for 2 more in a big win over Frostburg State, 60-28 here at Coyer Field last Saturday. Casey ended up 21 of 30 for 203 yards, and all of this was done in basically less than 3 quarters of play. The Bengals rolled up 505 yards in total offense in the win over Frostburg. So congratulations going out to Casey Kaz, our Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. And we turn now to cross country and smiling Dustin Dimit, and Dustin is bringing along Kyle Foster from his men's team. And it's been a while since we had you on, so we're getting closer to the end of the season where it's crunch time and fun time too. So why don't you give us a little update on the progress of the men's team first of all?
Well, the men, we've seen one of our best 1 to 5 packs since I've been here. 30 seconds last week between our 1st and 5th guy, and that's a great pack. And then it's just where we place that pack at SUNY that'll help us determine how well we can finish.
And is this what you expected when you started the season, or was it great coaching that got them here?
Well, I'll always say it's hard work by them.
There you go.
They got them there. And
there you go.
We did expect it to be a tight pack. We've had some freshmen that have stepped up and really moved into there, and some sophomores from last year that their freshman year maybe weren't as strong, and that they really put in the work in the summer and have moved up. So we definitely had some people that weren't surprises. There were people we knew could do that, but definitely it could have went the other way too.
And one of the pack is Kyle here. Kyle, anything surprise you for your season right now? I'm assuming you anticipated being in the pack.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I was really surprised by the amount of people that were willing to step up.
Wow.
We lost 3 out of our top 7, so
Yep.
we really needed that to happen.
You know, it's interesting he brings that up. Is that a surprise to you that they stepped up and said, hey, there's a void here, maybe I can fill that void?
Well, it was something we addressed in preseason,
There you
that
go.
we needed people to step up if we were going to have a good season. And like I said, we had freshmen and sophomores that did that, and we had people right away that stepped up, but then we had another group that stepped up in the second half of the year and have really moved in, people we thought had the talent, but for whatever reason hadn't done it before.
Okay.
We put some pressure on them and talked to people about needing to close that gap, and like it had been a minute to minute and a half 1 through 5 pack until this week, and now it's 30 seconds because those guys did step up, and
So in cross-country parlance, that's first as this time, and then the 5th is 30 seconds from the first.
Yep, so we have 5 guys.
And is that considered outstanding in cross-country? Is that, or obviously you want to move that tighter,
Yep.
but considering where you were, I'm assuming that's pretty good.
Yeah, 30 seconds to a minute is considered really good. So
Okay.
to have it 30 seconds or under is great. And
Okay.
that's what we're hoping to continue and just have everybody keep moving up in relation to the other
Great.
teams.
Well, Kyle, let's keep talking about the men. And you ran at Oberlin last weekend and had a very good time, 27:11, and I'm understanding it's your second fastest time this season.
Yeah.
Happy with that? Where you should be? Where can you go?
Yeah, like last Saturday it was a hard race to run. It was rainy and the course was muddy, so I was really surprised at the times and how everybody handled that situation. We came up on top, I believe. So
Yeah. When you say, I can't even fathom that. So it's raining and it's muddy. Do you just carry on, or do you try to avoid the mud because it slows you down, or everybody's going to be slow?
we just ran through it.
Okay.
So
Wow, under
Time showed that.
interesting circumstances.
Yep.
Where can he go, do you think, Coach?
He's an athlete that could be an all-region runner, which is
Wow.
top 35 in our region. He's been in our top 2 or 3 as a freshman, as a sophomore, and as a junior. So he's just continuing. He's actually our athlete that's run the most mileage during that time, and probably the person who puts in the most work in the summer. And definitely we're
Fantastic.
waiting for those
What a nice
results to
compliment.
pay off.
That's great.
Yep.
Let's get to the women's side now, and this has been a nice success story, has it not?
Yes. Yeah, the women, again, great pack 1 through 4. We need our 5th girl to kind of step up to there, but Julia Smith, who's a senior, missed our school record by a 1.5 seconds last week. So
my
she
gosh.
just narrowly missed that, but we're hoping she can get it in the next 2 weeks. And then this was actually the first race at Oberlin where we ran our whole top 5 of our girls. We've
Okay.
had somebody out every week for illness or for minor injuries that we're being careful with or for an academic conflict, and this is the first time we could put everybody together. And like I said, our top 4 look great. Our 5th was a little farther back. She's been as high as our 2nd earlier in the
Oh.
year, so we know she
So
can.
the potential's there.
The potential's there to, again, probably have like a 40-second gap, 1 to 5, which would be great considering the first person has a good chance of breaking the school record. So definitely
Wow.
the strongest women's team we've
Great
had.
success story. So,
Yeah.
so we roll into SUNY's next weekend. And what's the strategy there? You keep saying top 5, the pack of 5. Is that the strategy going into the conference meet?
Yeah, the conference meet's a lot easier for our athletes to kind of tell where they are compared to Oberlin. Oberlin had 40 teams, or at least 40 that had partial teams. So there's 250, 300 runners, where our conference meet, there's 10 teams. Each team can only bring 14 runners. So
Okay.
with that, you can really tell where everyone is, and it's a
Okay.
lot easier to see that and for our pack to really target the teams we know we can beat and to make sure we are in the position we need to be at the end of the race.
And if I ask you for your expectations, what would they be for both the male and the female side?
Well, we're still kind of looking through a lot of the statistics from
Okay.
the last week, but the men, our goal has been top half all year. We were 4th last year, which was
That's right.
one of the best finishes in the last 30 years. And so if we can, with the people we lost, come out in the top half, we'd be really happy with that. And the women are just trying to move up from where they were last year. Every other team has one girl that's way up there, like a top 10 type girl, where, again, our pack is what's going to determine where we can be. We can put maybe 5 to 7 girls in front of a lot of the other teams' 5th girls,
Okay.
and that's going to be our kind of plan there.
And we've got less than a minute. Strategy in terms of training. Is it get to a peak and then slow down the week before, or how does it work from a training strategy?
For our sport, I know with soccer, you said the season all the way through. For us, every meet all the way through is kind of a glorified practice. Nothing really matters until SUNY.
There you go.
So for us, we want to run fast at this time of year, and in the past, that's when our athletes have been able to step up. We try to set the training where they're fresh, ready to go, and can move past some of the teams that might beat us the week before.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Bango Magazine. Thanks to cross country and women's soccer and Eddie Weiser, our MMA fighter. And we're going to take a break. See you again in 2 weeks for more Bango Magazine.